Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video about my faith, which is something a bit different for my channel, but I just thought it would be nice to just do more of a sit down chatty video. So if you are interested in hearing a bit more about my faith, then maybe grab a cup of tea or like pop it on while you're cleaning or something, because I am just going to be sitting here chatting. So it's called the Christian Girl Tag, which a lot of other Christian YouTubers have done, but I've added a couple of different questions. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. I am going to try and keep my answers really short because I have tried to do this before and I just rambled on and on and on. So if you would like to find out more or you'd like to hear more about my answers, then you can just message me on Instagram. That's totally cool and I'd love to chat with you. So I've popped some of the questions on my phone because I've got really bad memory. But the first one is, how long have you been a Christian and how did you become a Christian? So I became a Christian when I was 16. That's when I was baptised and like I made the decision to follow Jesus. Before that, so my mum's a Christian but my dad isn't. So I would go to church sometimes when I wasn't doing taekwondo, which I know is a bit of a shock. I can't remember any of it, don't worry. But yeah, so I properly became a Christian when I was 16 and that was at a kind of youth event that I think I must have gone to when I was 15 or 16, and I really didn't want to go. I was dreading it. I said to my mum that I wasn't going to go in, but she managed to convince me to go, and I don't remember what they were preaching on. But I remember one of the girls that was hosting it sang an Adele song, I know, a bit quirky, which was Make You Feel My Love. She sang it sort of from the point of view of God, as if he was singing it over us, which sounds a bit weird, but it was really good and really moving. And I remember after that they did an altar call, which is, there wasn't an altar, but it's kind of like when they say, does anyone want to give their lives to Jesus? And I remember my heart like beating really fast and just like feeling like I really wanted to give my life to Jesus. So that's what I did then, and haven't looked back since. I mean, I don't want to make it too long, like I said, but for me, I think your journey kind of starts when you make that decision to give your life to Jesus, and then every day it's sort of like building on your faith. And there's been times obviously when I've struggled with my faith or whatever, but we'll come on to that. But that's when I became a Christian. That's when I made the decision to follow God, and then we'll see what the other questions are, see if they touch upon life since I gave my life to Jesus. So the second question is, how do you keep your faith? Which I thought is such an interesting question because obviously I've been a Christian for some years now, since I was 16, I'm now 22. And there's definitely been, I mean, throughout the whole time I've been a Christian, but there's definitely been points where I've tried to sort of go my own way or do things in my own strength and obviously failed, and I've definitely sort of pushed God into a corner or into a box and then lived the rest of my life, you know, how I want to live it, and sort of ignored God. And so I wouldn't really give myself any credit for sort of keeping my faith. It's more sort of been not a tug of war, but sort of like God tugging me back each time that I get distracted and just refocusing me back onto him. And obviously that happens through like going your own way and realising that you can't do it yourself, or that the things that you're trying to gain satisfaction from aren't satisfying you. And in the Bible it does talk, now I'm not a Bible expert and I keep getting stuff wrong, but it talks about Jesus being the well of living water that doesn't run dry, and I'll put the Bible verse in below. But that's been so true for me in my story, and the fact that sometimes we can get so distracted like as humans, but when you do the wells run dry, gosh, this sounds so Christian, but when the wells of other stuff in life run dry and you realise you're not getting satisfaction from like money or guys or whatever it is, and you just turns you back to Jesus, and that's what sort of, it's him that keeps me faithful, because he's always there to fall back on, even though that's obviously not how we should live our Christian life. You should be you know, trusting him and looking at him always. Sometimes that just isn't what happens, but he has always been there, like sort of coaxing me along my journey so far. So I think in terms of keeping your Christian faith without sort of making so many mistakes, you just got to, a decision that you make every day. It's not just a decision that I made when I was 16 and then sort of it's all rainbows and pixies, you know. It's a decision that you have to make every day, like multiple times a day, when you're making different decisions about different things, and always choosing to put him first and to look to him first, which obviously is very difficult. And yeah, like I said, it's a decision you have to make every day. You can't just think, oh, I've done it once 5 years ago, that's all it really takes, is sort of constantly reminding yourself to check back in. And I think that's something that will last a lifetime. Like, none of us are perfect. None of us are able to just make that one decision and overnight be perfect. It's a constant, I think a lot of people don't realise that about our Christianity, but yeah, it's a constant renewing of like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm following Jesus. This is the decisions that I'm going to make because I want to be more like him. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. The second question is, how do you stay positive / strong when everything around you is falling apart? Now, I think this is such a huge question in our generation because there's so much stress, and obviously mental health is a huge thing. And I would just say you can't always try to keep everything together. Like, there are going to be times in life, some obviously worse for others, but there will be times in all of our lives when we feel like we can't hold stuff together and it's all sort of a bit out of control. And I would just say, just make sure your focus is on Jesus. And he says in 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And I just love that Bible verse because it's so true. I think although we always want everything to be going right all the time, and I wish you could say that as soon as you become a Christian, your life is just rosy and everything's perfect, but that isn't the case, and that's not what God promises either. But yeah, fix your eyes on God and allow him to be powerful in your weakness. And I think it's just beautiful that God doesn't want us to come to him when we're perfect and, you know, when we're able to lift our hands in worship and, you know, feeling all jolly. Like, he wants us to come to him crumpled messes and to rely on him because his power is made perfect in our weakness. Not that he wants us to be crumpled messes, but he's happy for us to come to him in that state. So I would just encourage you, don't run away from God. Look towards him, run towards him, and I believe he will carry you through that. Also, surround yourself with good people. Like, make sure you've got a community of people that can pray for you and lift you up and support you through that, because obviously sometimes you might even need practical help in that sense as well. So yeah, I would just say fix your eyes on Jesus and get good people around you. What is your favourite Christian book? So my favourite Christian book, I've read a couple of Christian books, but I am the type of person that has to read a book 100 times before it sinks in. So Crazy Love by Francis Chan is a really good one, which is about sort of not living a lukewarm life as a Christian. I probably need to read it again because, like I said, it's a constant work in progress. But that was a really good book. I mean, it starts off a bit hard-hitting, but if you push through to the end, it sort of brings it all together and it's really encouraging eventually. So that's my favourite Christian book. What Bible verse is speaking to you most at the moment? So I do need to get better. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I like memorise my Bible off by heart. But a Bible verse that I read recently that really encouraged me was Hebrews 12 verse 1 to 2. And that says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith." I guess that kind of links back to the first point as well, that Jesus is the pioneer and the perfecter of our faith. Like, it's not through my own strength that I'm able to pursue God, like it's all because of him. But yeah, that's my favourite Bible verse at the moment. Find it really encouraging. Hopefully you will too. Favourite worship song? Oh, this is the last question. So my favourite worship song at the moment is Whole Heart by Hillsong. Maybe I'll just read you some of the lyrics because it's really beautiful. So my favourite part of the lyrics is, "So here I stand, high in surrender, I need you now, hold my heart, now and forever my soul cries out. Because once I was broken, but you loved my whole heart through, sin has no hold on me, because your grace holds me now." That is just a brilliant song, and I really love the words, and it sort of like comes to a crescendo, and it's really powerful. Yeah, So that's the end of that. I hope that is like fun and interesting for you. If you have any other questions, then I'm more than happy to do another Christian girl Q&A for you. Obviously I'm not perfect, I'm very far from it. I was saying the other day that I am the Christian that when people find out I'm a Christian, they are like, oh my gosh, you're joking. Like, no one ever believes me. I don't know if that's because I'm so crazy or just because I'm really cool. It's definitely not. But yeah, it's a work in progress. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've definitely got a long way to go before I'm anything like Jesus, but then haven't we all? I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really look forward to seeing you next week. Make sure you subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!